Hello and welcome to Shooting Outdoors channel. Back in the indoor range today, Brown & X blade and 2.2 on the go. Let's put it through its paces and see what it can do. This is your Boxtroll review.
On with the show.
Browning's Crossblade range are starter rifles in the hugely competitive £100 to £200 entry-level market. This pits them against the popular Remington Express range right up to the increasingly popular Viroc HW99. It's manufactured under the giant umbrella of Umarex, and we suspect the manufacture location to be outside the EU. Just keep in mind though that Brown have branded their name to this rifle as Remington did with the Express and sports marketing. The stock is easily the first area of the rifle to grab the buyer's attention, either in synthetic for the X-Blade or beech for the X-Blade Hunter. The narrow ambidextrous stock has a good ergonomic feel to it, allowing the cheek to settle without much craning of the neck. The angle of rake on the pistol grip and length of pull was no problem for our trigger fingers and hands, but it is something to check for when you buy. The Hunter stock is nicely matted wood with a rustic look, and overall appears to lend its proportions more to rimfire roots, which gives it a grown-up look. The checkering is pressed into the pistol grip and forestock with a very discreet feel, but a good visual impact. The resettable auto safety is housed within a Browning branded plastic housing, and although it was a little stiff, it was still manageable to thumb off and pick on the push-pull safety should your target scurry off. And I have said this before about Umarex safeties, that they are always very well placed and ergonomic. The bluing on the mainspring cylinder is very matted, with a rugged machined look to it, suggesting the X-Blade Hunter's primary purpose is linked directly to its name, Hunter. This anti-gloss appearance is extended all the way along the barrel, which is shrouded in a tough plastic to reduce the amount of maintenance required. This should appeal to newbie plinkers, but if matted looks aren't your thing, then some protection oil will soon shine things up to a nice gloss. The cocking linkage looks solidly made and not the typical folded metal sheet, as is the case on nearly all £200 Springers. Now, it's worth keeping in mind that if you want absolute performance from a Springer, you need to pay the price of the rifle again in tuning. So, it's no surprise that the internals feel and sound as expected from a sub £200 rifle. Out the box and bringing the piston to lock, the X-Blade Hunter felt in many ways like a Stoger X20. Even the breech design seemed to lend itself to the Stoggy. While firing though, there was no twanging or no clattering, just a nice solid whack and kick. Inside the plastic trigger guard sits the trigger, that would really benefit from some adjustment screws. Despite the lack of adjustment, the weighting was as expected, and although there is some creep with it, I found I was able to pull right through to the let-off point without being shy. Now it's just that the sheer length of travel to get there takes my attention away from the target before having to halt to reset my focus back on the target. Now I know that this will be amplified while the blood's pumping, zoning in on quarry out in the field. The X-Blade gets a set of fibre optic open sights that I think are a must-have on any rifle, regardless of being supplied with or without a scope. The rear sight is detachable if open shooting isn't your thing, though the foresight is moulded into the shroud, i.e. fixed. And we're not 100% sure, but it may be the case that it is detachable on the synthetic. If you're not an open sight fan, the X-Blade Hunter comes with a simple Browning branded fixed parallax 4x32 duplex scope and simple mounts that sit the scope quite high in relation to the barrel, but not in a way that compromises cheek weld or comfort. The adjustment from the scope, 1/4 inch at 100 yards, which is good enough for us. Focusing on accuracy, again, the focus was more on bedding in and how quickly you should see results, but fresh out of the box we suffered some dieseling, which didn't help the first 10 shot A4 size group. Literally was an A4 size group. However, 32 took Falcon accuracy plus later, and not a whiff of dieseling now smelt, the Brown X-Blade Hunter printed a promising 65mm 10 shot group. We hit the target again with 10 2.2 Daystate Rangemaster Sovereigns, and this reduced to a 52mm group. We're not making excuses here to keep an importer or shopkeeper happy, but effectively we went from a 210mm group out of the box to 52mm within 50 shots. We really do believe that a few oiled fellets and 100 more pellets through the barrel, this rifle will shoot a ragged 1-inch group at 25 yards with moderate ease. It should certainly be smacking rats anywhere under this range, but getting used to that trigger will be key to unlocking this rifle's potential. So that's your Boxtroll review on the Browning Crossblade in 2.2. It's took a lot to get it to shoot these groups, probably about 30-40 pellets. We don't have a lot of time when we do this. When we do the next Boxtroll reviews, when we do springers, we're going to budget a lot more time for it. But we've gone from shooting pretty much shotgun territory down to probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches maximum. A couple of flyers in there.
That's only within 30 to 40 pellets.
To be fair, the flyers with me, trying to get it settled in my shoulder. You don't know these rifles. You've got to bond a little bit and understand it, how it likes to be held. And we don't really get the time to do it. But as a £190 package, you know, open sights, absolute must-have on any Springer, because the scope, you start messing. They'll only last 18 months of scope, I think, before they start getting wrecked. That's my experience. But
it's a super comfy rifle.
It's got a nice matte finish to it. Lovely stuff. Nice shape, nice thermal reliefs. It's got a lovely colour as well. I quite like the colour on that. Comes with a scope which is pretty much the same as what you get on the Remington Express and all the rest of it. But yeah, for £190, you're kind of at that point really where you're at the top of the budget ones, the first time rifles, and then where you're going into sort of the mid-territory rifles like the HW99 and the Wolf Terrace, before you then start looking at things like, you know, HW77s and 57s and, you know, Wolf Centuries and LGVs. So
I really do like this rifle. I think it'd be nice to spend a bit more time spent on this. I think would be really appreciated. So
yeah, but definitely very weatherproof. You just got to really work it. The trigger has got a massive long pull on it, which we've said. We think it's adjustable. We haven't actually been able to play around with it that much because it's not ours, but it's got a massive pull. But once you take it, and honestly, it seems to go on past Narnia into Mordor, and then you get to that point where it wants to fire. Once you get to that point past Mordor, it's actually quite a nice let off, so it's not too bad. Big old kick, I think that must be a 30mm piston in there, because it doesn't have a kick like a mule. It feels like the Century when you fire it. It's just a bit softer. It's not as
aggressive, is it?
Yeah. Whereas, you know, the one we did last week, last time we did it was the Gamma. That seemed to just resonate in your hands, being a gas ram. It just kind of pops, doesn't it? So. Well, that's it. So, as always, stay safe, shoot straight, subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, visit the webpage. Stay safe, shoot straight. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Cheers. Goodbye.